Hello, everybody. How you doing? Uh, Glad you could make it this morning. Let me check the sound and video and everything. I'm going to open up this a little. There we go. Get a little more light in here. Okie doke. Let's talk about how to get the best deal on a watch. There you are. Hi, Aldo. How you doing? Glad you made it. Sound okay and video all right? Hi, Dom. Brian, good to see you guys. Sound and video are good. Great. Um, the light that I had over here that was going like that, I took the bulb out. So it's not quite as bright. So I'm going to have to get a brighter bulb. Um, anyway, hey, neighbor, how you doing? Tim, David, good to see you. I'm negotiating the black ceramic octo chronograph GMT. Okay, a black ceramic octo. That would be, what brand is that, Aldo? Hi, Dino. David, good to see you. James. Did you have an exorcist perform online? No, yeah, I took it out. What happened? It was I had this. I got this Adobe, not Adobe, but Amazon. Amazon sent me this light bulb, and they wanted me to review it. And so I turned it on, and the thing was like, boy, it was like super bright. So I thought, oh boy, this will be good for videos. And so I put it in my lamp over here, and then after it started going weird like that, I took it out, and the copper on the bottom had a hole in it that had looked like it had burned a hole. It's weird. So I thought I better get this thing out of here before I burn the house down. And put in a quote responsible one. I'll see what I can do about that. That, and if not that works, Brian, I'll get the Exorcist. Hey Ben, how you doing? Okay, Aldo's got to negotiate the black ceramic octo. Is that a octo? Is that the Bulgari octo Roma? Which one is that? Let's see if we can help Aldo get a great deal on that one. Yeah, I tell you, the watch I'm wearing, I don't know, this is this weird thing they start doing. Hang on a second. Let me try something here. I don't know if this will help or not. Probably not. Nope. Okay. Tell us about the deal you're negotiating right now, Aldo. I'm curious. While you're doing that, while you're getting ready to tell us, this one, it took a little negotiation, not a great deal. It was like it was these things. This was a Chanel Monsieur, about the simplest name in the world. So I'd seen it a long time ago when I first came out. Found out that Romain Gauthier was involved not only in the design of it, but providing the different movement parts. But it was like $40-something thousand, and then it kept going up and up. And I pretty much sort of gave up on it. And so I ran across it one day in this one shop, and it was, I don't know, 20 something. And I said, look, I said, if you can do this, I said, I can, including tax and shipment and everything else. I said, I'll give you 20 for it. And the guy took it. Now the reason that I could afford that much was that I had just sold some watches, and I had some other deals that didn't go through, and so happened to have it at that moment. So a lot of times, our more of getting a good deal depends on sort of contingencies over which you have no control. Okay, Aldo, what do you have? Okay, the Octo Bulgari Octo Finissimo, nice one. Chrono GMT, wow, that is a nice watch. Slimmest chrono watches GMT function. That is true. Okay. So tell us about the deal that you're trying to negotiate. And we have a bunch of negotiators here. I've invited the world's best negotiators. All these other people that you see here are the world's best watch negotiators. And I want to thank you for coming and helping out Aldo on this. Hey, Lazard, how you doing? Dominic, I find that some of my best deals were from private sellers that made offers respectively. Yeah, that's another good point, Dominic. You can find somebody who's, if you find someone who is needs the money for another watch, and they're just trying to make a little extra than that, you can make a pretty good deal. To tell you the truth. Brian, always be respectful to the seller. That is so true. None of this tough guy stuff, like, well, I know how to deal. I'll go to someone else, and you're a jerk. And Brian is absolutely right. Be respectful. They got their fish to fry, and you got yours. I'll tell you something. There was this one guy a long time ago, early on. There were two people who were selling, one selling a Royal Oak and the other selling an overseas. And the guy selling a Royal Oak just acted like a jerk. Now, that wasn't a Royal Oak's fault. It was his fault. And I don't want to have anything to do with him. And so I got the overseas. So anyway, given that, I mean, that's sort of the moral to the story is pretty much what Brian said. Be respectful to everyone. You're not going to get a better deal by acting like a jerk. I can tell you that. At least from, I certainly wouldn't feel inclined to give somebody a better buy because they acted like a tough guy. Doesn't work. Hey, William, how you doing? It's another hot day in Villages, Florida. Okay. Today we have an almost perfect day, so we lucked out. Yesterday was almost as it was supposed to rain yesterday, and it did a little, but not enough to spoil the day. Today's another beautiful day. Hey boy. Okay. Sidiful. What kind of name is that? SD. I'm going to call you SD or just S. Insider tip. The end of the month, around the 20th, is always the best time to negotiate, as most of the sales staff push to reach their monthly target. Good point. That is a good point. Those are things that I think are good to consider. Hey, Don, lowest prices seem to be from Japan, and negotiation is always possible. Of course, there's an import duty. Yeah, Don, I've had really excellent luck getting watches from Japan, and I think you're right. I haven't had that much on. There hasn't been a lot of negotiation for two reasons. One, they didn't seem inclined to negotiate, but more importantly, their prices were the best prices around. So that was like, there wasn't a whole lot to negotiate because I could look at 5 other offers and they were more. As far as both Japan and China, Asia in general, they seem to be very good about getting watches coming in and gets done without a lot of hassle. One of the things when you get something from overseas, it seems DHL is used a lot. And the thing I like about DHL is that I'll get an email and it says, hey, click here and you go to a place where you pay all of the duties and taxes and everything else, and just, you know, if they have, you know, give them your credit card or something and ticket, and that's it. Yeah, but they have great prices. Hi, Danish, how you doing? FBI ballistic torture tactics. Oh, Jesus. I don't think so. Okay, Aldo, tell us more about the deal. Is Aldo, is your Finissimo, is your Octo Finissimo? Is it from a dealer, an individual, the mafia? Who's the seller? Hi, HRM. I tried to ask around 15% discount and usually get quite a positive response. Just don't go out and ask for 50% off. Yeah, in general, I think it's probably a pretty good tactic. Sometimes, though, it's okay to ask for 50% off. I did once on this Zenith I got a long time ago, and they gave it to me. it was one of the, sometimes, you know, you go out and you're looking at stuff and you say, I really shouldn't buy a watch now. And that's when you'll get your best deals. When you say, oh, I can't afford to buy anything, I better not. Well, let me just see here. I'll give some kind of ridiculous offer. Like, sometimes you get it, then you're in trouble. Hey, Danish, you have to have a bargain like Asian mothers buying vegetables on the streets. Good grief. You got any other stereotypes or Danish? I was, I can't, I'm a terrible negotiator in some respects. I try to figure out, I mean, in my own strange sense, I try to be honest to myself, saying, okay, this is what I can afford. And so I'm really not negotiating. Somebody is, oh, no, we can't give it to you for that. And it's just, okay, adios. Oh, wait a minute. Let's see. So I'm just not a good negotiator. I wish I were, but I'm not. But I can get good prices, and I don't know how. I do it by accident. I think on the one hand, you got dumb luck, and on the other hand, you have negotiation skills. I go with dumb luck every time and do pretty well. You know, the other thing too is you got to have as much knowledge about it as possible. If you just seen, if you see a watch that you really like, and it's been for sale a long time, that's the time to negotiate. Don't bully your way. Just say, look, would you be interested? Would you take this? That's what I can afford. I know it's less than you wanted, but you know, there it is. And sometimes sometimes a seller, sellers can be jerks too. I've been a seller. I'm not a very good seller. As somebody like HRM said, yeah, 15%. Yeah, okay, that's not unreasonable. I'd probably go along with it as a seller. So, as a buyer, I never ever offer more than I can afford, and sometimes you can get a really good buy that way. Hey, Michael, is there a different strategy for online shopping versus going to a watch shop? Okay, good question and good point. I went into this one watch store, and this may sound like a total, what you call it, counterintuitive. Okay, if I go into a certain watch store and I'm wearing, let's say, an old Omega or something like that, and it's a really high-end watch store, The other hand, if I go in and I'm wearing, let's say, my FP Journe, boy, you get treated totally differently. And they're more interested in dealing with you because they figure this guy's got some money. Little do they know, I got watches, but that's why I have no money. So yeah. So there is a difference. On the other hand, when you get it online, they don't, they don't see. All they see is like they may not even ever see your face. Just what they'll see is your offer. You're dealing with somebody from overseas or something, you know. They don't know you, you don't know them, and you're just hoping everything is okay. I I can say I the best deals I've gotten have not differed, whether it's in the United States or outside. I've gotten good deals on from Europe, from Asia, and from the U.S. So I think there's good deals everywhere. The most important thing, going back again, is knowledge. I mean, if you know a watch is a certain price, and somebody asks you for a lot more than that, you're in a position to say, hey, it's you can reconsider this. Sometimes people selling watches are both, they think, well, if I sell a watch, I'm going to make a lot of money. And then you offer something that's not to them a lot of money. They may, oh, well, I'm not going to do that. But if you've been watching a watch, it's been for sale for a long time, and they haven't gotten any offers, I think that's another way to find a good way to do it, because they're sitting on a watch and they'd rather have the money. HRM. Hi, Javi. Good to see you. William, you make offers they can't refuse. Oh, boy. Okay, Alta, the seller is from a gray dealer. Now, they're not gray dealers. Now, this is important. They're a secondary market. A gray dealer is, the term gray is usually from AD markets. But what ADs will do, if they can't sell certain stock, they'll sell it to the secondary market. They don't call that the gray market then. So keep that in mind. You're dealing with if you're dealing with a secondary market, there can be advantages and disadvantages. So let's see what you have to say. Okay. This guy is he's from a gray. Okay. I think the watches are from people that forced to buy the watches from a bundling game. Huh. I wonder what that is. I'm not familiar with that, Aldo. Let's see what you got here. I bought a listing on Chrono 24 I've been eyeing for a year. Bought a solid gold Eberhard under the scrap gold price. Yeah, you can do that. If you've been looking at something for a year and somebody's sitting there and not getting any offers, you can make, you can say, listen, I know this isn't what you wanted. This is what I can afford. If you're interested, let me know. Okay, Danish, what do you got this time? I actually have 0 watches because I haven't found something correct. And when I try to negotiate, I always get bad luck. And somehow the watch just sells out before I could take a bite. you might try adjusting your your negotiation skills, Danish. A little work on it. Hey, Goldfinger, how you doing? Michael, if you're wearing your FP yarn, are they less likely? Because no, that's Michael. That's the counterintuitive part. I don't know why. I've never understood that. They think you're loaded. They'll give you better deals because they figure, okay, this guy's got the money. If I give him a good deal, he'll come back and get another one. Trust me. If on the other hand, if you look like a bum, which is my usual get up, yeah, they don't want to waste time with you. I was in a Tonneau when I used to. I think they were called Tonneau. It was a shop, and my friend and I went in there. We had been walking around. We were sort of grubby, so we go in there, and all I wanted was to see a a watch box for 2 watches. I mean, sort of a little travel thing I could take with me, and you put your good watch in it, and then you wear your sort of your travel watch or your rough and tumble watch. So I go in there, and here's this Teno's. It was this great big place. It was in God, I think 57th Street, I think 57th and Madison in New York City. So I go in there, and and finally some guy comes up and gives you like, I've got to ask you if there's anything that you want. So here I am, and I had on my FP Journe, my CS Chronometre Souverain. So I pull up my seat. I said, listen, I need a case for this one, and then another one. That guy suddenly, he turned the store upside down trying to help me. So that is so really, if they think you have big bucks, they don't want to lose your business because they know that you can take your big bucks and go to the competition. On the other hand, if you look like if you look like a bum, they figure, okay, hey, SD, something or other. At the moment, the market is overstocked. Overall, great time to buy. Yeah, I think you're right. I think there's, somebody said that one of the problems that Hodinkee, whatever they're called, had was they got into big trouble because they bought a whole bunch of these real expensive watches that were immediate post-pandemic. Remember that? And then they got stuck with them because the prices have been coming down since then. I mean, there were prices that were just ridiculous, but they figured, okay, it's going to keep going up. Well, I got to tell you, whatever you buy, I don't know. I a lot of times people are, like if you bought a bunch of watches before the pandemic at some really great prices, and you didn't realize how great they were, and then sold them right after the pandemic, you could have made a killing. But if you buy them right after the pandemic, when the prices were high, you were the killing, and that's what happened to Hodinkee. They ran into all kinds of problems because of that. So, I think I don't think of it in terms of, oh boy, I'm going to get a good investment. I think of it in terms of two things. One, knowledge of the watch. Is it something I really want? And two, is it something I can afford? I go along with those, and I've been pretty well served with that. Not only do I get watches I want, I don't buy a watch, I'm going to get a watch because it's a good investment, then it's going to sit in my watch case. But rather, here's a watch I like, I want to wear, I want to enjoy. It was like this one. This was the one that for a long time, boy, I wish I had one of those. Never, the thing was not even in what I call hand grenade range, like something that you can barely get. But when it came along, I knew it. I had an offer ready that I could afford, which was less than they were offering. But man, they grabbed on that as quick as they could because with a name like Chanel, most watch collectors don't know Chanel. That's Chanel number 5. It's a perfume or something. They don't. The best thing that can help you is an ignorant watch seller. If you're selling an ignorant watch buyer, you don't want to be either one of those. A bundling game is if you want to buy Rolex sport model, you have to spend XX money from other brands. Thank you, Aldo. Yeah, see, that's another thing. Most of the brands they have, I could care less about. So they're really not sort of in my wheelhouse, so to speak. Yeah, I sort of, a lot of watches have been taken out because of my objective and rational feelings about stuffing them with silicone hairsprings. And I'm not going to explain why I don't like them. All right, again. Anyway, okay, let's see what else you got. When I go to a watch store to buy a watch, I wear my Chaumet Dandy and a tuxedo. Yeah, yeah, he go like that. This guy, it's, that's a funny thing. That's a thing to do. It depends on where you go. Hey, Danish, if I wore a fancy suit, I might just get a Casio for free. Yeah, you might. I don't think so, but who knows? HRM, Hodinky bought into the hype flipping. Yeah, they did. Uh, Crypto crashed and they got stuck holding the stock. Karma. No kidding. You know, one of the things I've noticed that they, I think it was Hodinky, they had some writers, some editors who did a lot of writing for Hodinky about watches. And I've noticed that a lot of them have showed up doing writing for Chrono 24 now and some other places like that. That's sort of interesting. And, you know, I guess anybody can, even without being greedy, you can make a financial mistake, or a financial mistake can happen to you. I once met this real estate agent who was telling me, he said, when the market's up, you look like the smartest person in the world. He said, when it's down, you look like a greedy sucker. So it's sort of like, it depends on where, what's been happening. And I think it's important to look at that. Hey, Kent, how you doing? Buy the dip? Well, that's one way to put it. Uh, what do you think of JDM models? JDM? I'm not sure who JDM is. So unique, gray watchmaking that I get jealous. JDM. I can't think of them. Who is JDM? Oh, Japan domestic model? Oh, certain ones, yeah. Certain ones are great. Um, yeah, it depends what you like. The of the Seikos, I like the basic ones. I like the automatics, not the high beat, but just the regular ones. Prospects, and there's another one. I forgot the name of it. But yeah, there's. I mean, some of those are pretty good. In fact, a lot of them are, as a matter of fact. Yes, Seiko 5. Give me one of those. Talking timepieces. I own a new Rolex Air King. Way to go, man. I'm glad somebody appreciates those. Um, but have a chance to buy a 14060 Rolex no date sub. I'd have to sell the Air King though. Thoughts? Well, if you want a sub, one of the problems with Air Kings is that I don't think most Rolex buyers appreciate them. That's the problem. There's nothing wrong with the Air King. I like that. There's been a change in the Air King though. At one time, one of the older Air Kings, they had the same movement as the what's the one called? What's the one that had the big cage with it? Oh, the oh, okay, time to go, guys. All right. Yeah, no, I like the Urki. No, they had they used to have the same movement that the Rolex that had the anti-magnetic cage, okay? Except it was like almost $2,000 less. I figured, why not get the Air King? The other thing I like about the Air King, I really like the story behind the Bloodhound Speed Racer and how the Air King uses the instrument panel from that. That was developed originally by Rolex. So I think I really like the Air King. I mean, Submariners, people like subs, they like them. What can I say? Milgoss, that's what I was thinking of. Thanks, Mr. Berger. Yeah, that was it. Hey, Rancher, thanks, man. Uh, Danish, okay, I'll take one more, then I gotta run. Danish, I tried to get an Alpinist with the compass, and they tried to increase the price just for me by saying to sell a watch to get a more, yeah, if somebody tries to pull that on you, just pass. Okay, guys, gotta run. So see you this afternoon. Rancher, I hope you're there with a good idea. I could always use them. And thank you all for getting up, as they say, way too early, especially if anybody's from the West Coast of the U.S. They're really early. Anyway, guys, take care, be safe. And if you're around at 4 o'clock New York time this afternoon, I'll see you then.